I'm going to turn our attention to Apple now because its new iPad that's designed specifically with AI in mind is being broken down by Mark Gurman, who has more. It was power on this weekend, very well read throughout. Just tell us what's new when it comes to the iPad.
Yeah, so earlier last week, Apple announced a new iPad mini. It's the first update to that product in about 3 years. And this iPad mini doesn't have a lot of new functionality, but what they did is they upped the memory and they upped the processor to match last year's iPhone. And why is that important? Because that allows it to support Apple Intelligence. Now, as we talked about a few times now, Apple Intelligence, at least the first few iterations, not that impressive, right? You're missing some of the more whiz-bang features like generative AI created emojis, but you do get things like notification summaries. Now, this is
Yes.
launching next week. I don't find the AI features that impressive, but Apple does have a secret advantage. Once the AI starts working well, once they either build or acquire or pay their way into successful AI features, this new iPad mini shows the company's ability to rapidly add support for new features across this ecosystem in a way that really isn't matched by Google, Samsung, or any other provider. So while it's a small update, it's indicative of the larger overall ability that the company has to bring features down line very quickly.
And it makes the iPad mini's price point interesting because, from a processor standpoint, it's the same as this, right? iPhone 15 Pro, they both have A17. And they're kind of double dipping a little bit. I mean, you just talked about that secret strategy or secret advantage. Go a little bit further on that, Mark.
Yeah, well, this processor is the same processor as last year. It's a chip they no longer make other than for this product, right? And so they had a lot of leftover components from production of the iPhone 15 Pro. There's a process called binning, which essentially means processors that lose some of their components during the production process, right? So the 15 Pro version of the A17 chip has 6 CPU cores. Those are the main processing cores in the chip. The ones in this new iPad mini have 5 processing cores, which essentially means these have been binned or they've lost a core during production. So I'm not saying that these are the bad ones that they threw away, but what I am saying it's about a little bit of a stripped down version of last year's processor,
Yes.
something that's been recycled here. And from an operational standpoint, it's a big win for Apple, especially for margins.
So on a new iPad mini, am I going to be able to design my latest Nikes? Briefly, Mark, you've been writing about Tim Cook's other key role right now.
Well, the new iPad mini does support the new Apple Pencil Pro. I should add that, right? But the previous ones did support older Apple Pencils, and you certainly could draw your Nikes there. I thought this story was interesting because I think a lot of people don't realize that Tim Cook has a bit of a side gig, and that's being the lead independent director of Nike. Nike has been going through a tumultuous period, and obviously, as a board member, Tim Cook has been helping out. He helped bring on their new CEO, Elliot Hill. That hire has all the hallmarks of a Tim Cook hire. And so we'll see what happens to Nike over the next 6 months with the new leadership.